Good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 5, and today we're going to discuss Lesson 4, the Filipino Way. So, before we dig into the topic, let us first look on to the objectives for today's discussion. Number 1 is you will look into the qualities of the Filipino moral identity. Second is to evaluate elements that needs to be changed, and lastly, learn about the strength and weaknesses of some Filipino moral traits. Now let's move on to the qualities of the Filipino moral identity. Filipino culture is a mix of both Eastern and Western cultures. The beliefs and traditions of pre-colonial Philippines were mainly indigenous Malay heritage. It is according to Beringer in 2006. Then the Spanish colonized the islands and Hispanic culture influenced the natives. In turn, the Americans shaped the modern Filipino culture, and this is primarily manifested by the wide use of the English language in the Philippines today. It was from these influences that formed the Filipino character. The brief occupation of the British in the years 1762 and 1764 and the Japanese occupation in the 1942 and 1945, however, had no cultural influence in the Philippines at all. According to the psychologist, educator, and former chairperson of the Commission on Higher Education, Dr. Patricia B. Licuanan, wrote that the strength and weaknesses of the Filipino character are rooted in factors such as number 1, the home environment. Second is the social environment. Then we have the culture and language, the history, the educational system, the religion, the economic environment, the political environment, mass media, and lastly, leadership and role models. The home environment. So, the home environment, it is where the Filipino children are taught to value family and give it primarily importance. So, we all can relate to this home environment. From the very first time na nakamatata, like, we're like small pa, mga kids pa ta, dyan ta naka-learn no, kung unsang atong culture, kung unsang tradition sa atong family, and our parents are our first teacher. So, by that time, it is very important no, na the home environment is open and had a good quality so that the person can adapt to it and learn from it. Next, we have the social environment. So what is social environment? The Filipino social environment is characterized by depending on one another to survive. This dependence on relationships and the struggle for survival makes Filipinos group-oriented. So we believe, Jud, no, na no man is an island because kita mo, Jud, we really need a partner. We really need someone, di ba? So, with the help of them, na sila'y na-impart sa atong life and then naka-influence pod sila sa ato ang moral traits and character. Next is the culture and language. Meanwhile, Filipino culture and language depict openness to foreign elements with no basic consciousness of our cultural core. The Filipino colonial mentality, such as the importance of the English language in our educational system, the wider following of Hollywood movies, foreign soap operas, TV shows, and foreign song singers over Filipino movies, shows, and musics. Music is a manifestation of our attachment to foreign elements, so culture and language. Here, makarelate mo siya tanong na, when someone is really good in the English language, automatic, we think na bright kina sa tao. You know, the mentality nga, pag tsada ko mag-English, I think, there are a lot of kinds, no? Pag tsada ko mag-English, that means, bright ka. Napayaban, pag magsige po kag-English, ingnan po ka na lang nga, feelingon kay ka. So, kung di po kabalo mo English, ingnan po kag-bugo. Gibali, ang imuhang level is low. Dili yun masabtano, ang mentality sa Filipino kay, we're like, crab mentality nga if someone is nasa taas ato silang i-down and then if naapod ka na i-degrade po nimo sila. So another example sa culture and language is that fan kaayo ta sa mga K-drama, sa Hollywood films compare sa Filipino movies. So karon sige mo tag labi na karon quarantine nga pandemic na dili kita pagawas, we're more on watching movies like the Squid Game, what else? The Kissing Booth, something kanaang dili bitaw made by Filipinos, and even my mom during her time, no, fan gid kina siya sa Maria Mercedes, Marla del Barrio, Marimar, and kanang it's like we patronize those things compare sa ato ang own. Okay, maybe there are times na maot maka ni Filipino movie kay matagnaan raman nimo kung unsa ang sunod, pero it's like kulang lang gyud sa exploration kung unsa jud ang Filipino movies. There are a lot of good Filipino movies that are underrated. So another thing is this foreign songs. We are onto K-pop. Me personally, I am really into K-pop, and also other songs, foreign songs, like we follow them, we like them. So kanaang for me, it is important jud sad no na to acknowledge our own artists. Now next is the history. Likwanan added that our colonial history is regarded as the culprit behind our colonial mentality. Unfortunately, most Filipino elite are of no help in setting an example of overcoming colonial mentality because they are even more westernized in their ways. Present-day media, on the other hand, reinforce this colonial influence. So, if we remember sa atong the life and works of Dr. Jose Rizal, dito pa lang na time is that if you are pure Spanish, you're considered high in the society. If you're half Spanish, there are times nga you're high, or half siya, they are like na kay downside, napud kay advantage. And if you're a pure Filipino, kana siya, ang tawag nila sa Luzon is mga Indio, mga mangmang. Then if you're a pure Filipino, ang tanaw sa imuha sa tanan is your bobo. So from the time gyud nga gi-colonize gyud ta, jud nato nakuha ang atong colonial mentality. I-relate po nato ni siya sa pag-speak sa English language. Kay kung you're good at English, then you're good. Pero kung dili ka kabalo, katawan ka, ignon ka nga, bugok ka. So, this one, we need to remember no that language is not a parameter of intelligence. So, this one, we need to change. We need to be open-minded on the things that are happening today, most especially now. We're already in the 21st century and we should embrace our own. Next, we have the educational system. The Philippine educational system is also instrumental in molding the strength and the weaknesses of the Filipino character. Schools are highly authoritarian. Early on, children learn that well-behaved and obedient students are praised and rewarded. This teaches positivity and conformity. So from the time na nga nag-eskwela ta, we learn to do hands forward, straight line, hands sideward, kung magawas mo tanan or mag-flag na is mag hands forward, and then at the end of the year, rewardan ang most obedient, most punctual. So from the time nga gagmay pa ta, na train na jud ta na unsaon pag-behave, unsaon how to be a good citizen or how to act in a formal way. So next is religion. The Filipino is also religious. Religion taught us optimism and resilience. Well, I am very related to this na kanaang if you're a religious person or even you're not, we all believe in God. Jod no na when the time comes na low kita down kita mo, especially now in pandemic times, we like pray a lot nga Lord nani Lord, or di ba kung down ka magilakam jud ka, then you ask something from God, you talk to God, and then you're okay. For me, religion is like a hope for every people na if you have a problem, you can always reach out to our Almighty God, and a hope na it gives us also hope na kanaang Lord nani mahitabo, or kung naay mahitabo sa mo karon ibon mga dili ko pasagdan ni Lord. So I view religion as an instrument for us to have hope, to be optimistic. However, it has also a downside. It is also instilled in us a fatalistic attitude. Since religious communities are also highly authoritarian, this further reinforce our being passive and conformist. So, what do you mean by fatalistic attitude? So, mali siyang tao nga believe sa destiny. So it's okay. It's okay to believe on destiny. However, kana if you always gasalig na dana, it's like it's down man jud, like for example, yab mo nya ikaw kay kung kami jud or kanang inana bitaw nga way nga wala kay gibuhat isa palag-away mo tapos dili imo sala pero kuan ka saya gasalig ka sa iya nga ikaw ang suyuon. So mo yun ka dili ko magsuyo kay kung kami jud kung gusto niya gusto jud. So like girl, unsa gibuhat diha nagtanga ra ka? So it's not like that, no, na dili sa tanang panahon maghulat rata, dili sa tanang panahon magsalig rata, because wala may mahitabo kung dili ka maglihok. Next up is the economic environment. So several Filipino traits are rooted in our economic environment. The hard life drove Filipinos to work hard and take risks, such as leaving our families to work abroad. This further developed our ability to survive. So economic environment is like we have this thing, the Filipino dream. So what is that Filipino dream? Of course, it's to go abroad. Kay me personally I am looking forward to work abroad because nga the sweldo there is very compared to the Philippines, layo ra jud siya. And then here man sa good, we have this backer system, which is you're a good employee, you're a good catch, but lahi ang gipili. So it's very it's very unfair. And also about with aning sa pag-abroad, no, dili man sa tanan panahon na you are swerte, or pag abot dito you think na your life will be good, your life will change because you work abroad. So depende rin gid na siya, no, kaning economic environment na part nga moadto ang Filipino abroad to work, to have a good amount of money para pag-uli niya dinhi. Dato na ko unsa man, di ba? But this economic environment also shows how Filipinos are willing to sacrifice for their family, for survival. Next is the political environment. Our political environment and government structures and systems are fraught with problems. For instance, the fact that political power is mainly in the hands of the elite, and those absence of a strong government presence enhance the Filipinos' already extreme family-centeredness. So the economic and political environments are among the elements that develop the culture of corruption in the Philippines. So kaning political environment, nitaw ganya. Kanitang example, ako, mayor ko, ang musunod sa kuha, anak na ko, mahimo siyang mayor, mahuman ang term sa akong anak, iya na pong pag-umangkon, or iya bang igagaw ang musunod. So another is that if you're from the elite family, of course, you have a large amount of budget for election. So of course, ang makadaog is those politicians. And sometimes kay Philippines, we are really into, like, kung kinsay, dato, kinsay, gwapo nga politician itong butaran. So, unsa man. So, may kahitabo. Of course, ang ilang tumong dato dili ay public service, kundi ang pagpangawat. So, ang ako lang hope, or akong gusto nga mahatag sa mga message is that 2022 elections are fast approaching. So hopefully we really assess, or dapat ato jong kana ang tan-awon kung kinsa ang karapat-dapat na leaders, and we should visualize, we should dream for a better Philippines, so that dili na ta bitaw mag-adto sa lain na nasod, because we have a lot of opportunities here in the Philippines. Ang kulang lang is the proper leadership. Next is the mass media. Meanwhile, how did mass media reinforce our colonial mentality? What did you notice with the ads, the music, movies, fashion, and etc.? Shown on TV, aired over the radio, printed in the newspapers and magazines, or went viral online. These were greatly based on American pop culture. The emphasis of the superiority of an imported brand or product through mass media is in fact part of the Filipino daily life. So mass media really affects our mentality, like sa mga ads man jud, whitening soap, wala ka nakakita og blackening soap, char. So I mean, wala ka nakakita og advertisement nga walay pampaputi, walay pampa-sexy, walay pampa-ana nga figure. Tanan man jud na. And then what else? The brands. Diyan dito sa brands, no, nga pang international para ingnon dato. So, kana siya, influence yun siya sa mass media kay sukad sa gamay pata hatod karon nakita man jud nato na like we developed the insecurities, And then kana ang another thing is that naa jud ni hatod karon, no, the skin color nga pag puti ka, gwapa ka. Pag itom ka, no, I mean, wala ko nang tira sa mga morenas ha. Pero mao jud ni jud ang reality. Like pag puti ka, gwapa ka, pag itom ka, kuan ka tanawon kana murag hugaw ka tanawon or pangit ka. So it should not be like that. Tapos naapod ni type sa tao, which is na-experience gid nako ni, I dili ako experience, na witness nako siya grade 10 ko. So na ko'y friend, kuan siya mistisa, puti gid siya, sin puti gid siya sa katanan. And then napod ko'y friend na morena siya. And then kaning si morena girl, yang kalit siya kalit laging na akong friend niya mistisa nga. Puti naman ka, di mo ka gwapa. And I was like, oh my god, really gingon to. So I think we should stop, no, to compare skin color, like kung puti ka, gwapa ka, or gwapa ra ka kay puti ka, tapos kung morena ka, pangit ka, or kung morena ka, hugaw ka lang tabon. So we should kuan bitaw, kung wala kay iingon nga sakto, or kung feeling nimo dili sakto ang imong gihunahuna, ayo na lang iingon. Kay kana man jud imong storya maka-affect man jud siya sa life sa usa ka tao. So we should also be mindful to our words, and let's change our mentality. Lastly, the leadership and role models. Filipinos highly respect authority. We lean on our leaders and role models. Any person with authority is looked up to. Thus, when our leaders violate the law and when there is a lack of accountability for leaders who break the law, the Filipino mindset is hugely affected in a negative way. So kani siya jud, no, like tao naman Japon gini siyang mga politicians, and then others view them as like saints, like ginasamba na gid bitaw sila, gina-defend, makipagbatay gid sila kay para i-defend nila ang ilang politician, which I think is a big no-no, because those politicians, their roles are like to serve man the community, not to be patronized by the community. They run because they should serve, they want to serve, and they should serve, not para mga what. So lain kayo sa feeling nga nagsasayaw ra ka diha unya hidagan ka. I mean, pagkang napriso na kagikan na nakay cases like pangawat, klaro kayo nga corrupt ka, pero nga naman jud na nga ang pakadaog yapon sila. So like gina-disregard mong gud nato ang ilang mga wrongdoings. So again, never again elect politicians who are corrupt. Let's vote for ourselves, vote for our future. So that's the end of the qualities of the Filipino moral identity. Now let's move on to the strength of the Filipino character by Jillian Kapatan. Jillian?
Hi! So for the continuation of the reporting, I will be the one to tackle about the strengths of the Filipino character. When we say the strengths of the Filipino characters, it is obviously means that it is our main characters, diba? We Filipino, mga Pinoy at mga Pinay. So the Filipino traits listed here are certainly not exhaustive, but these are what we have in common the most. The strong aspects of the Filipino character are the following. The first one is pakikipagkapwa-tao. The second one is family orientation. The third one is joy and humor. The fourth one is flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. And the fifth one is hard work and industry. And the sixth one is faith and religiosity. And the last one, or the seventh one, is the ability to survive. So when I mention all of this, it seems that you are very familiar with this, since some of us already knew this topic before when we are in the middle school or even last year during our first year level. So now, let us proceed. The first one is pakikipagkapwa-tao. It is demonstrated in the Filipinos' openness, helpfulness, and generosity in the practice of bayanihan or mutual assistance, and the famous Filipino hospitality according to Lico Ana 1991, Guevara and Repaldo 2002. Pakikipagkapwa-tao is very common when it comes to us Filipinos. Why? Because it is famous for hospitality. We already know that we have this strength because we have the ability to help others, to give others what we have, or share blessings to each other. We literally help one another without receiving a kapalit to the things that we give. We know how to makiramdam sa iba, and we have this type of very sensitive na halos ibigay na lang natin sa iba lahat kahit wala nang natira sa atin. So, an example of that is makikita natin sa picture, which is yung picture ng pagbabayanihan where a lot of men are carrying the house to put into a particular place. That is a good example of the practice of bayanihan or mutual assistance. It is good to describe that as pakikipagkapwa-tao. So the second one is the family orientation. This strong family orientation gives Filipinos a sense of belonging and security. This love is shown through giving honor and respect to parents and elders, care for the children, generosity towards kin, and the personal sacrifices that a Filipino endures for the welfare of the family, according to Manaut and Repaldo 2005. This love is not just for one spouse and children, but also to parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, or even every distant ones, and even to ceremonial relatives. Family orientation is that it is a source of personal identity, emotional and material support, and also it is the one means commitment and responsibility. It has a sense of family results in a feeling of belongingness and rootedness in a basic sense of security. Strong family orientation leads to a closer bonds and supportive relationships in all areas of life. It is the quality and nature of family relationships that are of the most importance. Being family oriented is synonymous with being family centered or family focused. The third one is joy and humor. Filipinos are also cheerful and fun loving. Our various fiestas and social gatherings demonstrate the Filipino joy and humor. We can laugh at those we love and hate, and can make jokes about our good or bad fortune. And even in the most trying times, Filipinos will always find a reason to smile or laugh. A lot of people from different places are so proud and admire us. And why? Because we have this ability that despite of all the problems we have encountered, we are still laughing and smile. And even in the difficult times, still we find ways to smile and laugh. Like right now, amidst of this pandemic, but we are still laughing even sa pagpapamigay ng mga ayuda na nanggagaling sa ating mga gobyerno. And I do believe that laughter is the best medicine. Ikatawa rin nato ato ang problema dapat magproblema sa ato dili dapat kita. Bitaw, but anyways, let's move on to the next strength, which is the flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. This pleasant disposition contributed to our ability to overcome life's challenges. Filipinos are also tremendous in adjusting and adapting to any circumstances. Our flexibility, adaptability, and creativity are the reasons why many Filipinos thrive in various parts of the world, by Lico Anan 1994. We can adjust and to adapt to circumstances and the surrounding environment. Both physical and social adjust to whatever happens even in unplanned or anticipated events. We possess a tolerance for ambiguity that enables us to remain unfazed by uncertainty or lack of information. This allows the Filipino to adapt and be flexible in doing the task at times not bound to a particular schedule or time frame. This allows us to think on our feet and be creative in facing whatever challenge or task we have even when it is already right in front of us. Like in the picture above, that is a good example of being flexible, adapting to situations, and being creative at the same time. The fifth one is hard work and industry. Filipinos also value hard work and industry. This trait is the most noticeable in our willingness to take the risk and work in other countries. Hard work and industry, Filipinos have the ability for tough paintings given the right conditions. The preference to elevate one's fashionable lifestyle and to possess the necessities of a respectable lifestyle for one's family, mixed with the proper possibilities and incentives, makes the Filipino paintings very tough. This is manifested maximum fantastically in willingness to take the risk, with job overseas and while still there to painting at or 3 jobs. And the result is productiveness and entrepreneurship for a few and survival regardless of the poverty for others. Our parents are going abroad while to take the risk, willing to sacrifice, just for us to provide our needs and also our wants. Hard work and sacrifices at the same time. The sixth one is faith and religiosity. Filipino also value faith and religiosity, which can be related to bahala na mindset. There is actually a positive side to the fatalistic trait that for the Filipinos, the bahala na attitude could serve as a kickstarter or a pampalakas loob to move him or her into action, according to Gripaldi 2005. Filipinos are among the most devoted people on the planet. Whatever religion we practice, we remain faithful and never lose hope for a better tomorrow. Our faith and hope keep us kind, positive, peaceful, and determined to achieve our goals. The Filipino strong faith in God can also be seen in the form of our various practices. It also included the numerous church holidays which we witness, the obligatory Sunday Mass, and the individual's moral foundation. The last one is the ability to survive. Filipinos have an ability to survive. All these positive Filipino traits mentioned contribute to our ability to survive. The salawikain or proverb, matutong mamaluktot habang maikli ang komot. In English, if the blanket is short, learn to curl. This salawikain or proverb speaks of learning how to endure hardships. It teaches us how to survive and adjust in times of crisis. It applied depicts our survival instincts. This trait is the reason why Filipinos continue to carry on even through our harsh economic and social circumstances, according to Tiangco and Gripaldo, 2005, and Lico Anan, 1994. We Filipinos are known for being resilient, being able to stand up despite the difficulties we overcome. We find ways just to survive. Like if we don't have the food to eat, diba? We always find ways na makakaunta tapos okay na kaayo nga sa isa ka adlaw makakaon kas alang. And we can overcome challenges by standing up for ourselves, standing up in our own feet. We used to be a hero in our own selves because in our own battles, we save ourselves from those difficult times we have faced. And that is why we have the strength, which is the ability to survive.
Hi, I am Maril's Felicity Angkot, and now let's proceed on the weaknesses of the Filipino character. Dr. Patricia B. Licuanan also pointed out our weaknesses. Why is it important? It enables the Filipino to identify the areas that needs improvement in order to grow and develop as a person. An informed and improved Filipino will also result in a stronger and more progressive nation. These weaknesses are extreme personalism, extreme family-centeredness, lack of discipline, passivity and lack of initiative, colonial mentality, kanya-kanya syndrome, lack of self-analysis, and self-reflection. So first is extreme personalism. Dr. Licuana noted that Filipinos function in the world by personally relating to things, events, and people. We find it difficult to separate objective tasks and emotional involvement, and this is where the palakasan system spring from. Filipinos want to get special treatment and will always look for inside connections in most, if not all, of his or her transactions. This is another element that lead to the prevalence of graft and corruption in the country. We Filipinos are known for having a pride or what we call garbo, where we do things that makes us go higher that will not affect our pride. Example is right now the politics, so most of the candidates are eager to win the position. With that, they will find a way to make them on the top, and one of the things they can do is building a connection or having a connection with powerful people. Because of that, most of the selected candidates fail to do their duties properly because of their greediness. Well, that was only an example. So second is extreme family-centeredness. Family may be a source of strength of the Filipinos, but extreme family-centeredness is also his or her flaw. Family is valued above anything and everyone else. Thus, concern for the rest of the community and for the common good is less important. It is manifested in our political system where political dynasties lord over our elected government posts starting from the barangay level all the way up to the national position. So third is lack of discipline. So according to Dr. Licuanan, the Filipino lack of discipline is characterized by our idiomatic expression, ningas kogot. Projects start out with full enthusiasm and interest, but no sooner was it started that the enthusiasm and interest just as soon died down. Another related characteristics is the Filipino time. Filipinos are known to be always late. We arrive late or start late, which we are all guilty about. Am I right? According to Tan, since global trends strictly follow schedules. So these traits that disregard the importance of time is adversely affecting the Filipino productivity. Have you ever noticed that in every event, when it was stated that it will start at 7 p.m. but ended up started at 8 p.m.? Then one of the guests will say, "Ay, Pinoy UDI." Because of what we call Filipino time, people are getting used to it that they don't take how precious time is. Fourth is the passivity and lacking initiative. We Filipinos have very high respect for authority, but this also led general passivity and lacking initiative. For instance, there is a strong reliance on leaders and government to solve nation's problems, but ordinarily, Filipinos also do not feel the need to initiate or contribute to the solution. This trait is also related to our lack of discipline.